Hi, I'm Leah Smith. In this video, I talk about how to find joy in living in a small space. I touch on knowing what you need, simplifying your life, and strategizing to thrive living small. So let's get started on this journey. Mizuta Masahida famously said, "Since my house burned down, I now have a better view of the rising moon." A haiku poet, Masahida perfectly encapsulated the philosophy of minimalism in 15 words. A minimalist intentionally promotes the things they value most and removes everything that distracts from those things. Things can be anchors. They can tie us down and keep us from exploring new interests and developing new talents. By this point in our lives, we have probably accumulated a mountain of things that have no purpose, and in our minds, we have relegated them to the category of junk. Imagine how light we could feel without the weight of all that junk. How much more could we savor life and cultivate a sense of adventure? Freeing ourselves of the burden of too many things can leave us open to new experiences and help us to recognize and take advantage of opportunities. The less baggage we are dragging around mentally and physically, the more living we can do. I was living in a 1,600 square foot condo in a beautiful old mill. It had 17-foot ceilings and over 2 floors and a large balcony overlooking the river. Every inch was filled with plants. It was close to quaint downtown shops, and entertainment was on my doorstep. One day I looked around and I thought, do I really want to paint this place? Although the outside was taken care of, the inside needed some attention. I'd been through renovation with my former home, and I didn't want the battle with contractors. Even if I could get one, would they be able to do the work in a reasonable amount of time? What was an extraordinarily beautiful place that had brought me such great joy now weighed heavily on me. Recent events had left me with a keen sense of time was slipping away, and this was not how I wanted to spend it. I was asking myself, was I better to leave renovation to the person who would buy my place? They could redecorate it to their own taste. The other side of the equation was, where would I go? A new place would have to be at least as attractive as my current home. I knew I wanted to simplify my life even further, to strip away all the accumulated trappings and focus clearly on the things that truly mattered. Other than my family homes, I have always lived in fairly small places, so I felt like I was prepared for smaller living. I knew what I didn't want, and that was the responsibility of owning a home anymore. Been there, done that, and I gave away the t-shirt. That left me a rental. In the end, I chose apartment living. I had already lived in a cooperative setting, close to others, and enjoyed that experience. I liked meeting my neighbors in the hallways to catch up on the latest news. Yeah, there was the odd ding in the car door in the parking lot, but we sorted it out. I thought very carefully about what I needed. 2 bedrooms in close proximity to nature with lots of light. The lower floor at the mill was a bit dark, and I gravitated to the upper floor that was surrounded by windows. I also knew what I wanted, my own outdoor space, a balcony. Basement laundry was a deal breaker. I considered it a great step up in life when I no longer had to lug my laundry to a dingy basement with quarters in hand. Budget was also a consideration. Beyond the base rent, I had to think about what was included. As with any move, location was important. I wanted to stay in my small town with easy access to my friends, activities, and a hospital, but close enough to the city to see my kids and to participate in everything a city has to offer. When I did finally find the perfect location, I had a compromise to make. 1 bedroom with a large balcony facing south, overlooking the river on the edge of town where I could see both the sunrise and the sunset. Or the 2 bedroom with a great view to the west, but the other side faced the street. The rent seemed high, but it included all the expenses. No more water, electricity, gas, or even Wi-Fi bills. I took the 1 bedroom, 700 square feet. My ability to adapt was going to be tested. As they say, aging is not for the weak. I was counting on that gradual step down from large condominium from a house. And I realized that it is a first world problem, that there are many, many people who have to live in even smaller spaces. But I'm retired, and I was afraid the walls were going to close in on me. Living small required me to think about what to keep and what to give or throw away. We had done a major downsizing when I moved from our house. It took 2 large bins to remove a lifetime of clutter. That was after I had sold things, put free things on the front lawn, and gave things to immigrant services and the Salvation Army. I went through a less onerous process the second time around. I made really good use of a Buy Nothing Facebook page that matched people who needed things with people who had things to give away, the virtual equivalent of putting free stuff out on the lawn. But still, I was surprised at what we had managed to accumulate in the 10 years we had moved from our home. I had to be brutally honest and keep only the things to which I had a deep connection. I would have to refurnish the new place with smaller furniture that in some cases would double as storage. A load had been lifted from my shoulders and I was ready to move forward. The balcony was key to my ability to live in a small apartment. Yes, 700 square feet, but with a 40-foot balcony. The balcony gave me breathing room. I wander out with my coffee in the morning or drink in the afternoon to overlook the river, and I entertain friends there. I turn on my birding app and listen to the morning bird chorus. I stargaze on clear nights. My neighbor and I chat across the balconies, and I have filled my outdoor spaces with planters brimming with portulaca, tomatoes, peppers, radishes, beans, peas, squash, and melons. It is my happy place when I'm at home. Coping in a small square footage for me meant finding space for the activities I enjoy. I took up acrylic painting shortly after I retired, so I bought trays on wheels to store all the paraphernalia that comes along with that. Long, low dressers in my hallway provide room for clothing and various other things associated with the things I love to do. A bench and an heirloom blanket box pull double duty. Something I have to live with is my living room. It looks more like a den. Without that second room, my telescope sits just off to the side of my TV and my computer is on my coffee table. The sofa also serves as my office chair. I do miss that second bedroom, but I really am okay with my choice. Downsizing has made me more nimble, but the adaptation that has been most important for keeping my sanity has been making a conscious decision to spend a lot of time away from the apartment. Other than morning and evenings, I plan to be out and about most days. This is my list, but yours will be very different. The important thing is to sit down and make a plan to stay engaged with your community. In the summer, I kayak, paddleboard, and swim on the river outside my door. I walk, cycle, and volunteer at the local food bank farm. I sail race 2 evenings a week. In the winter, I cross-country ski. I belong to the curling club and curl 4 to 5 times a week. And all year round, I visit my son and my daughter-in-law. I go to the gym. I belong to a field naturalist club and go birding, canoeing, camping with them. I fish keep, practice yoga, and dance Zumba. I'm an amateur astronomer. I try not to turn down invitations, and I try to return the hospitality. All of this is a conscious strategy to find joy and to live my life to the fullest. I hope my experiences in some small way helped you if you find yourself wanting to make a similar decision to simplify your life by making the move to a small space.